Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the U.S. horizon and watched the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. The massive space station stretched across the darkness like a small city made of light and metal. 12 different types of alien ships moved around it in perfect order. After 200 years of wondering if humans were alone in the universe, Jake was about to meet beings from other worlds. "Captain, we're getting a signal," said Lieutenant Amy Chun from her position at communications. "It's coming through in perfect English." Jake nodded. The aliens had been watching Earth for months, learning human languages and customs. The message was simple and welcoming. They called themselves the Galactic Council, and they wanted to meet with humanity's representatives. Dr. Lisa Parker moved closer to the main screen. As the missions expert on alien life, she had dreamed of this moment her entire career. "Look at those ship designs," she whispered. "Each one is completely different. We're looking at technology from multiple civilizations." Commander Ryan Brooks, the military officer assigned to protect the diplomatic mission, was less impressed with the beauty and more concerned with the weapons. Or rather, the complete lack of weapons he could see. "Strange," he muttered. "No visible defensive systems on any of those ships." The horizon moved slowly toward the station's docking bay. Through the clear walls, the crew could see aliens moving about their daily business. Some were tall and thin with skin that glowed in shifting colors. Others looked like giant insects walking on two legs. Still others seemed to be swimming through tubes filled with water. "Docking complete, Captain," reported the pilot. Jake took a deep breath and straightened his uniform. He was about to become the first human to shake hands with an alien. The docking bay doors opened with a soft hiss. Jake stepped out first, followed by Dr. Parker, Commander Brooks, and Lieutenant Chun. The gravity felt normal and the air was breathable, which meant the aliens had prepared the station for human comfort. A tall figure approached them. It looked almost human, except for its height, and the way its skin shifted through different colors like a living rainbow. When it spoke, the voice was musical and gentle. "Welcome, humans of Earth. I am Ambassador Veltar of the Xanathi people. We are honored to meet you at last." Jake extended his hand and was surprised when the alien took it carefully. The handshake was gentle, almost hesitant. "I'm Captain Jake Morrison, representing the United Earth Space Command. Thank you for this opportunity." Veltar's skin shifted to warm gold tones. "Please, come with me. The Council is eager to meet you. We have prepared quarters for your stay and arranged meetings with representatives from all member species." They walked through corridors that curved and flowed like natural caves rather than the straight lines humans preferred. The walls displayed moving pictures of different worlds, some covered in crystal forests, others with purple oceans, and some that looked like cities made entirely of living trees. "How long has the Council existed?" Dr. Parker asked as they walked. "Over 3,000 of your Earth years," Veltar replied. "We have maintained peace throughout this sector of the galaxy for all that time. No member species has engaged in violence since joining the Council." Commander Brooks raised an eyebrow. "No violence at all? What about crime?" "Disagreements between worlds?" Veltar's skin shifted to confused blue patterns. "All disputes are resolved through mediation and compromise. Violence is unnecessary when beings can communicate and reason together." They entered a large circular room where representatives from different species waited. Jake had studied the files during the journey, but seeing them in person was overwhelming. The insect-like Kriktar communicated through clicking sounds and shared thoughts. The aquatic Murloth spoke through translators from their water-filled suits. The ancient Karthik looked like living rock formations and spoke very slowly. "Humans are most welcome," said the Kriktar representative through its translator. "Your species shows great promise for peaceful integration." Over the next few hours, Jake and his team learned about galactic society. Trade flowed freely between worlds. Scientific knowledge was shared openly. Art and culture were exchanged like gifts. Conflicts were rare and always resolved through talking. But as the day continued, Jake noticed something strange. When Dr. Parker mentioned Earth's history of wars, the aliens became very quiet. When Lieutenant Chun showed them examples of human entertainment, movies, and books, several aliens left the room looking disturbed. That evening, in their assigned quarters, the human team discussed what they had learned. "Did you notice how they react to anything involving conflict?" Dr. Parker asked. "Even our nature documentaries made them uncomfortable. They seemed shocked that Earth still has predators and prey." Commander Brooks was looking through files on his tablet. "I've been studying their military records. They don't have any. No armies, no weapons, no defense fleets. They've forgotten how to fight." "Maybe that's a good thing," Amy suggested. "They've created a peaceful society that works." Jake wasn't so sure. 3,000 years without any threats? That seems too good to be true. What happens when they meet something that can't be reasoned with? Dr. Parker had been analyzing biological data from the different species. "Jake, look at this." Every species in the Council evolved on worlds where they became the dominant life form through cooperation, not competition. They never had to deal with serious predators or resource scarcity. "What about us?" Jake asked. "Humans evolved differently. We came from a world full of dangers. We had to compete for resources, fight predators, survive disasters. Our entire evolutionary history is about overcoming threats through intelligence, cooperation, and yes, sometimes violence." Commander Brooks nodded grimly. "We're the only species in the Council that understands warfare. The only ones who know how to fight." The next morning, Ambassador Veltar visited their quarters. His skin color seemed more muted than before. "I hope your first day was educational," he said carefully. "Very much so," Jake replied. "Your people have accomplished something amazing here." Veltar shifted colors nervously. "The Council has concerns about humanity's integration. Your species has a history of aggressive behavior. We wonder if you can truly adapt to our peaceful ways." Dr. Parker leaned forward. "What if you need our aggressive behavior? What if something threatens the galaxy that can't be reasoned with?" "Such things do not exist," Veltar said firmly. "Intelligence and communication can solve any problem." But Jay caught something in the alien's tone. A hint of doubt that maybe Veltar was trying to convince himself as much as the humans. As the weeks passed, Jake and his team integrated slowly into Council society. They attended meetings, learned about alien cultures, and tried to represent humanity in the best possible light. But the feeling grew stronger that they were fundamentally different from every other species in the galaxy. The humans had evolved to be survivors. The aliens had evolved to be peaceful. Jake began to wonder what would happen when those two very different approaches to life were truly tested. He would not have to wait long to find out. 6 months had passed since humanity joined the Galactic Council. Dr. Kevin Walsh now worked in the Council's main science center, studying star maps and energy readings from across the galaxy. He had grown used to working alongside aliens, though. He still found their complete trust in peaceful solutions both admirable and worrying. That morning started like any other until the long-range sensors began screaming warnings. Kevin rushed to the main display where data was flowing in from the galaxy's edge. What he saw made his blood run cold. "Ambassador Veltar," Kevin called across the room. "You need to see this." The tall Xanathi approached with his usual calm manner, his skin showing curious yellow patterns. "What have you discovered, Dr. Walsh?" Kevin pointed to the display. 12 star systems at the outer rim have gone dark. No communications, no energy signatures, nothing. It's like they simply vanished. Veltar's skin shifted to confused blue. Perhaps their communication systems failed. All 12 systems. At once? Kevin shook his head. And look at this. He brought up older readings. The energy signatures show massive consumption right before each system went dark. Something was eating them. Other alien scientists gathered around the display. The insect-like Kryktar representative clicked nervously while translating for its hive mind. The aquatic Merlith floated in its water suit, speaking in worried bubbles. The ancient Kothic took several minutes to process the information before responding. "This is unprecedented," the Kothic finally said in its slow, grinding voice. "In 3,000 years of council records, nothing like this has occurred." Kevin had been running calculations all morning. Based on the movement patterns, whatever did this is heading toward the galactic core, and it's getting faster. Captain Jake Morrison arrived at the Science Center within the hour. He had been attending a cultural exchange meeting when Kevin's emergency message reached him. Commander Ryan Brooks and Dr. Lisa Parker were right behind him. "Show me what we're dealing with," Jake said, without wasting time on pleasantries. Kevin brought up a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Red marks showed where the 12 systems had been. "We're calling them the Devourers for now. They move through space, consuming everything in their path. Stars, planets, space stations, everything." "Pirates?" Ryan suggested. "No." Kevin shook his head. "Pirates take what they want and leave. These things take everything. They strip entire solar systems down to empty space." Dr. Parker studied the data. The energy readings suggest some kind of mechanical process, like machines breaking down matter and rebuilding it into something else. Ambassador Veltar had been listening quietly, his skin cycling through worried colors. "We must attempt communication. Perhaps they are refugees seeking resources. We can negotiate a peaceful solution." "We tried," Kevin said gently. "Every communication frequency, every protocol in the council database. No response." An emergency council session was called immediately. Representatives from all 12 member species gathered in the Great Chamber. The holographic display showed the path of destruction at the galaxy's edge. The Zenati spoke first. "We propose sending a diplomatic mission to establish contact with these beings. All conflicts can be resolved through understanding and compromise." The Kryktar hive mind buzzed with discussion before responding. "The collective suggests we hide in deep space until the threat passes. Our worlds can be evacuated to safety." The Merloth representative floated nervously in its tank. "Our oceans can be sealed and hidden. We will retreat to the deepest trenches until danger is gone." The Kothic took longest to respond, as always. "We calculate the probability of successful diplomatic contact at less than 1%. We recommend evacuation to distant galaxies." Jake listened to each species propose the same basic strategies: hide, run, or try to talk. No one mentioned fighting. No one suggested defending their homes. "What about resistance?" Jake finally asked. "What about defending your worlds?" The chamber fell silent. Veltar's skin showed patterns Jake had never seen before, something like fear mixed with confusion. "Humans," Veltar said carefully, "violence is not the answer. It never is. There must be a peaceful solution." Dr. Parker stood up. "What if there isn't? What if these devourers are just machines programmed to consume? You can't negotiate with a forest fire or reason with a hurricane. All intelligent life can be reasoned with," insisted the Kryktar representative. Kevin had been doing more research while the council debated. What he found made everything worse. "Everyone needs to see this," he said, bringing up historical records on the main display. The data showed similar patterns of consumption throughout galactic history. 17 different civilizations had faced the same fate, entire species that had simply vanished, leaving behind empty space where their worlds once existed. "The pattern repeats every few million years," Kevin explained. The Devourers aren't new. They're cyclical. They come, they consume advanced civilizations, then they disappear until the next cycle. The revelation hit the Council like a physical blow. Their 3,000 years of peace suddenly seemed like a brief moment in galactic history. They were not the first advanced civilization to face this threat, and all the others had failed. But surely, Veltar said desperately, surely some of those civilizations found peaceful solutions? Some must have survived through diplomacy? Kevin's expression was grim. The record suggests they all tried diplomatic solutions first. None of them worked. Commander Brooks had been quietly studying the tactical data. How much time do we have? At their current speed, they'll reach the first inhabited Council worlds in 18 months, Kevin replied. The core systems, including Earth and the Council Station, have maybe 3 years. The chamber erupted in panic. Some species began making evacuation plans immediately. Others insisted on sending diplomatic missions despite the evidence. Few simply shut down, overwhelmed by the scope of the threat. Jake watched the chaos and realized something that chilled him to the bone. The Galactic Council, for all their advanced technology and 3,000 years of civilization, had no idea how to respond to an existential threat. Their entire society was built on the assumption that every problem could be solved through talking and compromise. We need to call Earth, Jake told his team as they left the chaotic council session. This is bigger than first contact or diplomacy. This is about survival, Dr. Parker nodded grimly. The council species evolved to be peaceful, but humans evolved to be survivors. We faced extinction before and fought our way through it. You think we can stop these devourers? Amy asked. Jake looked back at the council chamber where alien representatives were still arguing about diplomatic solutions to a threat that had already consumed 12 star systems. I think we're the only ones who will even try to fight, he said. The question is whether that will be enough. Within hours, emergency messages were transmitted to Earth. The content was simple but terrifying. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, and that place was as the only species willing to stand between civilization and complete annihilation. The peaceful age of the Galactic Council was about to end. The age of human leadership was about to begin. The emergency council meeting had been going on for 3 hours. Captain Jake Morrison sat at the human delegation table, watching alien representatives argue in circles about diplomatic solutions that everyone knew would not work. Finally, he stood up. I request permission to address the council, Jake said loudly. The chamber fell quiet. Ambassador Veltar's skin shifted to nervous purple patterns. Captain Morrison, the council appreciates human input, but we must explore all peaceful options first. We've been exploring peaceful options for 3 hours, Jake replied firmly. Meanwhile, the Devourers have consumed 2 more systems. We're running out of time. Dr. Lisa Parker stood beside him. The council needs to face reality. These machines don't negotiate. They don't communicate. They only consume. Someone has to stop them. The Kriktar representative clicked rapidly before speaking. The hive mind cannot accept violence as a solution. It goes against everything we believe. Then your beliefs are going to get everyone killed? Commander Ryan Brooks said bluntly as he joined his teammates. Gasps echoed through the chamber. No one had ever spoken so directly to the council before. Veltar's skin flashed angry red patterns. Humans, you forget your place. You are the newest members of this council. You cannot simply take charge of a galactic crisis. Jake looked around the chamber at the 12 alien species. Some were already making evacuation plans. Others sat in stunned silence. None were preparing to fight. Then we're not taking charge of the council, Jake said quietly. We're offering to coordinate the galaxy's defense. Someone has to, and we're the only ones willing to do it. Before anyone could respond, the chamber doors opened. General Patricia Hayes walked in wearing the dark blue uniform of Earth's military. Behind her came a dozen other humans in similar uniforms. The aliens had never seen so many human military personnel in one place. "Captain Morrison," General Hayes said with a crisp salute, "I bring orders from Earth Command and the United Nations. Humanity is prepared to lead the defense of this galaxy." The council chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Several alien species began talking at once. The Murloth representative's water tank bubbled furiously. The ancient Karthik took several minutes to process what they had just heard. General Hayes approached the central podium without waiting for permission. She was a tall woman with gray hair and eyes that had seen too many battles. When she spoke, her voice carried the authority of someone who had spent her life making life-and-death decisions. 6 hours ago, long-range sensors detected the Devourers entering the Beta Centauri system. In 12 hours, that system will be empty space. We estimate 18 months before they reach inhabited council worlds. She activated a holographic display showing the galaxy with red markers indicating Devourer movements. Every species in this room has two choices: help us fight or run and hide. But understand this, if we fail, there will be nowhere left to hide. Ambassador Veltar's skin cycled through confused colors. General Hayes, with respect, humanity has been part of this council for only months. You cannot assume leadership of a galactic crisis. We're not assuming anything, General Hayes replied. We're offering. Show me another species with military experience. Show me another species with weapons capable of fighting these machines. Show me another species willing to die defending their homes instead of running away. The chamber fell silent. The truth was obvious to everyone present. Only humanity had the knowledge and willingness to organize a military response. Dr. Kevin Walsh, who had been monitoring Devourer movements from the Science Center, entered the chamber with urgent news. General, we've identified their construction pattern. The Devourers aren't just consuming matter randomly. They're building something. What kind of something? Jake asked. More of themselves. Each system they consume allows them to create additional Devourer units. They're not just destroying civilizations. They're growing stronger with each victory. This news hit the council like a physical blow. The Xanathi representative actually collapsed into his chair, skin flashing panicked white patterns. The Kriktar hive mind buzzed with terrified clicking sounds. How many are there now? General Hayes asked. Based on consumption rates, we estimate several thousand individual units, with more being created constantly. At their current growth rate, they'll outnumber every ship in the galaxy within 2 years. Commander Brooks studied the tactical display. What about their command structure? Are they operating independently or as a coordinated force? Doctor Walsh brought up detailed sensor readings. There's definitely coordination. They move in perfect formation and divide tasks efficiently. There has to be some kind of central command directing their actions. General Hayes nodded grimly. Then we need to find that command center and destroy it. Cut off the head and the body dies. Assuming we can find it, Jake added, and assuming we can get close enough to attack it. Which brings us back to the central problem, General Hayes said, addressing the entire council. We need every available ship and resource to have any chance of success. This isn't humanity's fight alone. It's everyone's fight. The Murloth representative spoke through its translator. Our people are not warriors. We do not know how to fight. Then we'll teach you, General Hayes replied simply. Humans have been fighting for survival since we lived in caves. We know how to turn farmers into soldiers and merchants into warriors, but you have to be willing to learn. The Karthik took several minutes to respond, as always. The calculations show a very low probability of success through military action. What's the probability of success through hiding? Commander Brooks asked bluntly. Another long pause. 0. The Devourers will eventually find and consume all hiding places. Then military action is our only option, even with low odds, General Hayes concluded. One by one, the alien species began to understand the terrible truth. Their 3,000 years of peace had ended not by choice, but by necessity. Fight or die. Those were the only options left. The Kryktar representative clicked nervously before speaking. The hive mind will consider cooperation with human military leadership. Our coordination abilities might be useful in large-scale operations. The Xanathi will provide our knowledge of stealth and infiltration techniques. Veltar added reluctantly, his skin showing resigned gray patterns. Even the Murloth agreed to help. Our people will defend the ocean worlds, if humans can teach us how. By the end of the day, every species in the Council had agreed to follow human military leadership. It was not a decision made from trust or confidence, but from simple desperation. They had run out of peaceful options. General Hayes established her headquarters in the Council Station's largest conference room. Within hours, it was transformed into a military command center. Alien volunteers arrived to learn basic military concepts. Resource allocation plans were drawn up. Ship designs were modified for combat. Jake watched the transformation with mixed feelings. Humanity had wanted to join a peaceful galactic community. Instead, they had become its protectors. The irony was not lost on him. "Think we can do this?" Dr. Parker asked as they watched alien crews practice basic combat maneuvers. Jake looked at the volunteers, peaceful beings learning to fight for the first time in their lives. They were clumsy and frightened, but they were trying. "We have to," he said simply, "because if we fail, there won't be a galaxy left to save." Commander Alex Davis stood in the middle of what used to be the Council's Cultural Exchange Center. Now it was the Galactic Defense Academy, filled with aliens learning to use weapons for the first time in their species' history. The scene would have been funny if the situation were not so desperate. A Xanathi volunteer held a practice weapon with trembling hands, his skin flashing confused yellow patterns. "I do not understand the purpose of causing harm," he said through his translator. Alex knelt beside the alien, speaking in the calm voice he used with new recruits. "You're not causing harm. You're preventing it. These weapons will protect your family and your world." Nearby, a group of Kryktar were practicing coordinated movements. Their hive mind made them excellent at working together once they understood the basic concepts. They moved like dancers, each knowing exactly where the others would be. The Murloth were the biggest challenge. They needed special water-filled training areas and equipment that worked underwater. Engineer Maria Lopez had spent weeks designing combat suits that would let them fight while staying in their aquatic environment. "How are they doing?" General Hayes asked as she entered the training center. "Better than expected," Alex replied. "The Xanathi are natural scouts. They can disappear and reappear without making a sound. The Kryktar coordinate perfectly once they understand the mission. Even the Karthik are useful. They can calculate firing solutions faster than our computers." "And the Murloth?" Maria looked up from where she was helping a Murloth volunteer adjust his new combat suit. "They're actually incredible fighters underwater. We just need to make sure every battle plan includes aquatic options." General Hayes nodded and moved to the strategic planning section. Major Chris Anderson was working with alien engineers to convert civilian ships into military vessels. The transformation was happening across the galaxy as peaceful cargo ships received armor plating and weapon systems. "Status report, Major," General Hayes requested. Chris pointed to a holographic display showing ship production numbers. We've converted about 60% of the Council's civilian fleet. It's not pretty, but they'll fight. The real challenge is training crews who have never fired a weapon in anger Speaking of which, we have our first real test coming up, Dr. Kevin Walsh said as he approached with the latest sensor readings. Devour scouts have reached the Vega system. 3 units moving toward the inhabited planets. General Hayes studied the data. How long until they start consuming? Maybe 6 hours. The main Devour fleet is still 3 systems away, but these scouts will report back on our defenses. Then we stop them here, General Hayes decided. Alex, get me 50 volunteers from the Academy. Mix of species, but humans in command positions. Chris, I want 20 converted ships ready to launch in 2 hours. Admiral Tony Garcia had arrived from Earth 3 weeks earlier with a small fleet of human warships. Now he stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defender, watching his mixed human-alien crew prepare for the galaxy's first military action in 3,000 years. All ships report ready, Admiral, reported Lieutenant Amy Chun from her communications station. Tony looked at his tactical display. The combined fleet was small, only 20 ships against 3 Devourer units. But intelligence suggested the scouts were smaller and less heavily armed than the main force. Begin approach to Vega system, Tony ordered. All ships maintain formation. Remember, most of our alien crews have never been in combat. Keep the orders simple and clear. The fleet moved through hyperspace toward their first battle. On each ship, human officers worked alongside alien crews who were trying to overcome millions of years of peaceful evolution in a matter of hours. Captain Julie Stone commanded one of the converted council ships, the former luxury liner now bristling with hastily installed weapons. Her crew was half human, half alien. The Xanathi communications officer was nervous but determined. The Kriktar weapons team worked in perfect coordination. The Karthik navigator calculated jump coordinates with incredible precision. Dropping out of hyperspace in 30 seconds, Julie announced to her crew. Remember your training. Follow the human's lead and trust your instincts. The fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Vega system. Immediately, sensors detected the 3 Devourer scouts near the second planet. They were massive mechanical constructs, each the size of a small moon, covered in what looked like mining equipment and weapons. All ships, this is Admiral Garcia. The enemy has detected us. They're moving to intercept. Execute attack pattern Alpha. The human ships moved forward in formation while the converted council ships provided support. The Devourers responded immediately, launching swarms of smaller units and firing energy weapons that could crack a planet's crust. Evasive maneuvers. Julie called out as her ship dodged a blast that would have vaporized them. Xanathi team, use your stealth abilities to confuse their targeting systems. The Xanathi crew members began flashing their bioluminescent patterns in complex sequences. To human eyes, it looked like a light show. To the Devourer sensors, it was chaotic interference that made targeting nearly impossible. It's working, the Kriktar weapons officer reported. Enemy accuracy dropping by 40%. Admiral Garcia watched the battle unfold from his command ship. The alien crews were clumsy and frightened, but they were learning fast. More importantly, they were fighting instead of running. Focus fire on the lead Devourer, he ordered. All ships, concentrate on that target. 20 ships turned their weapons on a single enemy unit. Human military doctrine was simple. Overwhelming force applied at the weakest point. The Devourers had never faced coordinated resistance before. The first enemy unit began taking damage. Its outer hull cracked and split, revealing the mechanical systems underneath. But instead of retreating, it began rebuilding itself using material from the nearby asteroid belt. They're self-repairing, Dr. Walsh reported from the science station. We need to destroy them faster than they can rebuild. All ships, full power to weapons, Admiral Garcia ordered. Don't give them time to repair. The battle became a race between destruction and regeneration. Human weapons technology, combined with alien coordination abilities, created devastating attacks. The Xanathi provided targeting data through their enhanced senses. The Kryktar synchronized weapons fire across multiple ships. The Karthik calculated exactly where to hit for maximum damage. The first Devour unit finally exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The alien crews cheered in their various ways. Xanathi skin patterns, Kryktar clicking sounds, Murloth bubble streams. 1 down, 2 to go, Tony announced. Let's finish this. The remaining 2 Devourers tried a different tactic. They split up and attacked from opposite directions, trying to divide the fleet's attention. But human military training had prepared for this situation. Alpha Group, take the left target. Beta Group, take the right, Admiral Garcia ordered. Don't let them separate us. The battle continued for another hour. Ship after ship suffered damage, but the mixed crews held together. Humans provided leadership and tactics while aliens contributed their unique abilities. When a Xanathi communications officer was injured, a Kryktar took over without missing a beat. When a human weapons station was damaged, a Karthik stepped in with perfect calculations. Finally, the last Devourer scout fell silent and drifted apart in pieces. All ships, report status, Admiral Garcia requested. One by one, the ships checked in. 3 vessels had serious damage, but no ships were lost. More importantly, the mixed crews had proven they could work together in combat. Captain Jake Morrison had watched the entire battle from the Council Station's command center. When the final victory report came in, the room erupted in celebration. Aliens who had never cheered for military victory were shouting with joy. "We did it," Dr. Parker said in amazement. "We actually won." This was just the beginning. General Hayes reminded everyone. 3 scouts against 20 ships. The main Devourer fleet has thousands of units. But Jake could see something had changed in the alien volunteers around him. They had tasted victory against an enemy that could not be reasoned with or negotiated with. They had learned that sometimes survival required the willingness to fight. "Send word to every world in the Council territory," General Hayes ordered. "The galaxy has its first military victory in 3,000 years. We can fight these things. We can win." The message spread across the galaxy faster than hyperspace travel. Species that had been preparing to evacuate suddenly began volunteering for military service. Worlds that had been hiding began contributing resources to the war effort. The peaceful age was over. The age of galactic defense had begun, and humanity was leading the way. The main Devourer fleet appeared at the edge of the Centauri sector like a dark cloud of death. Admiral Tony Garcia stood on the bridge of the UES Guardian, the new flagship of the Galactic Defense Force, watching 10,000 enemy units move toward the heart of civilization. "Final count, Admiral," reported Lieutenant Amy Chun. 9,800 Devourer units of various sizes. Our combined fleet has 4,000 ships from all Council species. Tony nodded grimly. The odds were bad, but they were the best the galaxy could manage. Every shipyard had worked around the clock for months. Every species had contributed their best crews. It would have to be enough. "Status on the strike team?" Tony asked. "Captain Morrison reports ready for insertion," Amy replied. "There. Standing by on the stealth ship with representatives from all major species." The plan was simple in concept, but incredibly dangerous in execution. While the main fleet engaged the Devourer forces, a small team would infiltrate the enemy formation and locate the central command node that Dr. Kevin Walsh had identified. If they could destroy it, the entire Devourer network would collapse. Captain Jake Morrison checked his equipment one final time aboard the stealth ship Phantom. His team included the best warriors from each species. Veltar represented the Xanathi with his natural invisibility abilities. A Kriktar coordinator named Zextal would provide perfect team communication. Murloth warrior Blue Aura wore a special combat suit designed by Maria Lopez. Even the ancient Karthik had sent Vulcan, whose computational abilities could crack any security system. Remember, Jake addressed his mixed team. We get in, find the command node, plant the charges, and get out. The main fleet is counting on us. Dr. Eliza Parker was monitoring from the Guardian Science Station. The command node should be at the center of their formation. It's the largest structure, about the size of a small moon. But Jake, the defenses around it will be incredible. We'll handle it, Jake replied with more confidence than he felt. The battle began at dawn, Galactic Standard Time. Admiral Garcia led the combined fleet forward in formation that would have been impossible 6 months earlier. Human ships provided heavy firepower, while alien vessels used their unique abilities to support the attack. The Xanathi ships flickered in and out of visibility, confusing Devourer targeting systems. Kriktar vessels moved in perfect coordination, creating overlapping fields of fire. Murloth aquatic assault ships prepared to board and fight inside captured enemy units. Karthik heavy cruisers calculated precise firing solutions that maximized damage. All ships, engage at will, Admiral Garcia ordered as the two fleets met in the space between stars. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Energy beams that could melt asteroids lit up the darkness. Explosions visible from several star systems marked the destruction of massive ships. The Devourers fought with mechanical precision. But the Galactic Alliance fought with something the machines could not understand: the determination to protect their homes. Colonel Sam Turner led ground assault teams that boarded damaged Devourer units. His mixed human-alien squads fought through corridors filled with repair drones and automated defenses. The aliens had learned well. Xanathi scouts marked targets. Kriktar teams coordinated perfectly, and even gentle Murloth warriors proved fierce when defending their galaxy. Section 7 secure, Sam reported as his team destroyed another Devourer control center. These things are tough, but they don't adapt to new tactics fast enough. Meanwhile, the stealth ship Phantom slipped through the chaos of battle toward the command node. Jake watched the massive structure grow larger on his screens. It was beautiful in a terrible way, a perfect sphere covered in geometric patterns that pulsed with energy. "Docking in 60 seconds, announced the pilot. "Once we're inside, you'll have maybe 20 minutes before they detect us." The team moved through the command node's corridors like shadows. Veltar's invisibility kept them hidden from most sensors. Zextal's coordination allowed perfect silent communication. Bluhara's aquatic abilities let her access water-filled sections that would stop other infiltrators. They reached the central chamber to find something unexpected. The command node was not just a computer. It was alive. A massive organic brain surrounded by mechanical systems, pulsing with the collected knowledge of every civilization the Devourers had consumed. "It's beautiful," Vulcan said in wonder. "A perfect fusion of organic intelligence and mechanical efficiency." "It's also learning from every battle," Jake realized with horror. "Every tactic we use, every strategy we try, it's analyzing and adapting." Dr. Walsh's voice crackled through their communicators from the main fleet. "Jake, we're seeing coordinated changes in Devourer behavior. They're adapting to our tactics faster than we can develop new ones." Jake understood the terrible truth. The command node was not just controlling the Devourers. It was evolving, becoming smarter with each engagement. If they did not stop it now, it would eventually become unbeatable. "Plant all the charges," Jake ordered. "We need to overload this thing completely." But as they worked, the command node began speaking. Its voice was like music made of mathematics, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "Fascinating," it said in perfect English. You are the species that taught the galaxy to fight. Your evolutionary path is unique among all civilizations we have consumed. Why are you doing this? Jake asked as he continued setting explosives. We preserve, the entity replied. Each civilization we consume becomes part of our collective memory. Their knowledge, their art, their essence lives forever within us. We offer immortality. You offer death, Daltar said, his skin flashing angry red patterns. Death of the body, yes, but preservation of the mind. We have saved 17 great civilizations from the entropy of time. Zextel clicked rapidly before speaking. The hive mind rejects your offer. Life must be lived, not preserved. Your choice, the command node said sadly. But understand, we will rebuild. We always rebuild. Jake finished setting the last charge and looked up at the massive organic brain. Maybe, but this time, the galaxy knows how to fight back. This time, we'll be ready. The team ran through corridors that were now actively trying to stop them. Security systems activated throughout the command node. Mechanical defenders emerged from hidden panels. But the mixed team fought their way out using everything they had learned. They reached their ship just as the charges detonated. The explosion was not just physical. It was a cascade of information overload that shattered the command node's ability to process data. Throughout the galaxy, Devourer units suddenly stopped moving in coordination and began attacking each other. Command node destroyed. Jake reported to the main fleet. Enemy coordination is collapsing. The battle turned immediately. Without central coordination, the Devourers became individual units that could be defeated one by one. The Galactic fleet pressed their advantage, destroying confused enemies that no longer worked together. Admiral Garcia watched the last Devourer unit shut down and drift lifeless in space. All ships, cease fire. Enemy fleet neutralized. The celebration began immediately. Across the galaxy, worlds that had been preparing for evacuation instead celebrated survival. The impossible had happened. A galactic civilization had faced an extinction-level threat and won. Months later, Jake stood on the bridge of the UE's Guardian in orbit around Earth. Around him worked officers from dozens of species, all united in their commitment to defending the galaxy. The Galactic Defense Force had become permanent, headquartered on the world that had taught the galaxy how to fight. Admiral Morrison, Amy said from her station, were receiving reports of unusual energy signatures from the Andromeda galaxy. Jake smiled grimly. The command node had been right about one thing. Somewhere in the universe, threats were always emerging. But now the galaxy was ready. They had learned that peace was precious precisely because it had to be defended. Prepare the fleet, Jake ordered. Let's go see what's out there. The age of galactic defense had truly begun. Humanity had found its purpose among the stars, not as conquerors, but as the ultimate defenders of peace. And they would never let the galaxy forget how to fight again.